Come a little closer, friend. Let the noise drop away for a second. Shh. I want to show you something small. Just a single page. An adventure can fit in a tiny package and still feel like a blade at the ribs. On paper, modules read like notes. At the table, they should feel like danger, mystery, and momentum. The kind that makes people lean forward. If you run a session like a document, your table checks out. So this starry night, I'm going to show you how I translate dry information into scenes your players feel. We'll set up the goal, run a couple of encounters, handle a puzzle, and finish with a reward. We'll do it with Buried Shrine of Luida, a one-page one-shot by one-page mage, built for a level 2 party of 3 to 5 players. Now, end. Let's make the page feel alive. Dombach, a town of dust and drowsy afternoons, huddled against the barrows like a child pressed to its mother's skirts. Too small to leave, too stubborn to disappear. In a cramped study overflowing with scrolls and half-catalogued relics, the scholar Edward receives the party. His fingers never stop moving, adjusting spectacles, straightening papers, tapping nervously on the spine of a crumbling tome. Gray hair escapes from beneath a skullcap, stained with ink. You're the adventurers? He squints at them over his spectacles. You look capable. Yes, capable enough. The fighter crosses his arms. Capable of what, exactly? The Shrine of Luida. Edward breathes the name like a prayer, eyes alight with fervor. Luida, deity of wonder, of the impossible made manifest, of... He fumbles for words, then abandons them with a wave. 3 centuries buried, and I believe, no, I know, it lies beneath the eastern barrows. And you want us to dig it up, the rogue says. I want you to find it. Bring me proof, artifacts, anything. He pulls a worn map from the chaos of his desk and presses it into the nearest party member's hands. His grip lingers a moment too long, and I shall reward the effort handsomely. The wizard takes the map, studying the faded lines. What kind of proof are we looking for? Anything that survives 300 years underground. Edward's laugh is nervous, quick. Stonework, metalwork, inscriptions. Whatever the barrows haven't swallowed. And if we find trouble instead, the cleric asks quietly. Smile falters. He meets the cleric's steady gaze, and for a moment, the manic energy dims. Be careful out there, he says. The barrows remember things. Things that would rather stay forgotten. The fighter pushes off from the wall. Sounds like a normal job. Then we have an agreement? Edward's hands flutter together, hopeful. The rogue plucks a coin from his desk, examines it, and pockets it with a grin. We'll be back before dark. She's wrong. But she doesn't know that yet. The party leaves Dombok behind while the afternoon sun still hangs 2 fingers above the hills. The road, if it can be called that, is little more than a rutted track that fades into wild grass within half a mile. Wind stirs the tall grass in slow waves. Twice, the party glimpses old stone foundations, collapsed walls, doorways to nowhere, remnants of lives long forgotten. Crows call from unseen branches, then fall silent all at once. The rogue stops. Someone's been through here. She points. Grass bent the wrong way, a boot print pressed into soft earth. Fresh, no more than a day old. Could be shepherds, the cleric offers. Shepherds don't wear hobnailed boots. The rogue straightens, hand drifting to her blade. And they don't travel in pairs. The party moves more carefully after that. Then, ahead, a shallow depression where the earth has caved in on itself. The shrine reveals itself as a wound in the earth, collapsed blackened stone, entrance choked with rubble. But the party is not alone. 2 bandits labor at the rockfall. Sweat darkens their tunics. The party crouches in the tall grass. The rogue's eyes narrow. Sword on the big one. Dagger in the other's boot. Those are our boot prints. We take them now, the fighter says. They're just men with shovels. The cleric rises. I'll talk to them. The fighter grabs his arm. And when that doesn't work, then we'll know. The cleric pulls free and walks forward, hands raised. Friends, we mean no trouble. Perhaps we could share? The larger bandit spins, hand finding his blade before the sentence ends. Share? He spits. 3 days we've been digging, sleeping in dirt, and you want to share? His partner, younger, leaner, straightens, dagger appearing in his hand. Gorn, maybe we should... Shut it, Declan. The rogue steps forward. Look at us, Garn. This doesn't have to end with blood. Something wavers in his eyes. Exhaustion. Doubt. Then his jaw sets. I'm not leaving empty-handed. Not again. He lunges, a horizontal slash meant to open bellies. Declan darts low, dagger jabbing at exposed legs. Steel rings on steel. The fighter meets Garn's blade. The rogue circles wide. The wizard raises her hands and freezes. Garn's face, that moment of doubt. Do something! The rogue shouts, driving a knee into Declan's gut as he lunges. Garn charges like a bull, headbutting the fighter. Both stagger. The cleric moves. His mace catches Garn across the back of the knees. Garn crumples. Declan bolts into the tall grass. Declan, you coward! The fighter's blade settles against Garn's throat. Go ahead, Garn whispers. Finish it. Get up. The cleric's voice is flat. Walk away. Garn retrieves his sword, sheathes it, turns toward the grass. He pauses at the edge. You're making a mistake. There's something wrong in there. We heard it. Stone grinding when nothing moved. Whispers with no mouths. His laugh is bitter. Good luck, heroes. He disappears into the grass after Declan. Should have finished it, the fighter mutters. He'll be back with friends. And we better move fast. The rogue is already walking toward the rubble. Whatever's in there, I'd rather face it than a bandit gang at nightfall. The wizard stares at the blood in the dirt. I froze. The rogue touches her shoulder, says nothing. The shrine's dark mouth waits. With the bandits' makeshift tools and some effort, the party widens the gap in the rubble enough to crawl through. One by one, they squeeze into the darkness. The air inside tastes of stone and age. Cold, dry, utterly still. They emerge into a long hallway carved from bedrock, 10 feet wide, walls blackened with ancient soot from torches long extinct. The party's own light, whatever form it takes, pushes feebly against the dark, revealing only 20 feet at a time. The corridor stretches ahead, vanishing into shadow. 3 centuries, the wizard whispers. No one's breathed this air in 3 centuries. Good, the fighter mutters. Means nothing's been eating down here either. One of them takes a step, then another. The floor vanishes. What seems solid stone is nothing. A pit trap, 10 feet across. Its edges crumbled and treacherous. Torchlight catches the glint of iron spikes far below. 30 feet down, cruel points waiting in the dark. One member of the party teeters on the edge, arms windmilling, before strong hands yank them back. Hearts pound. The pit yawns silently. The rogue exhales slowly. That would have been a bad way to go. Stay close. Test every step. The cleric's voice is steady, but his knuckles are white around his holy symbol. They edge around it, backs pressed to the wall, testing each foothold. On the far side, the hallway continues, another 70 feet. At first, it seems empty. But something is wrong with the air at the corridor's end. The dust motes don't swirl the way they should. Light bends strangely, and then movement, or the suggestion of movement. A ripple like heat shimmer, but the air here is cold as a tomb. One party member squints into the gloom, trying to make sense of what they're seeing. But the light is dim, and the mind insists that empty space is empty. They walk forward. The thing moves. It fills the entire width of the hall. A cube of living jelly, 10 feet on each side, its top brushing the ceiling, its surface refracting torchlight like dirty glass. Inside the translucent mass, bones tumble at eye level, a skull rolling slowly past a half-dissolved ribcage, bits of armor, the corroded hilt of a sword, all suspended, rotating with glacial patience. It advances, and the party scrambles backward. "What in the hells is that?" the fighter hisses. "Don't let it touch you," the wizard breathes. "Whatever you do, don't let it touch you." The creature pursues. Its surface ripples with eagerness. A member of the party, too slow, feels the cold slap of its leading edge. And then they're inside it, surrounded by burning acid, lungs screaming for air that isn't there. Hands reach in, hauling them free in the nick of time. Skin red and blistered, the party retreats to the pit's edge. The cube follows. They ready themselves for a desperate last stand, but the creature stops. Its front edge extends over the abyss, quivering. Then it recoils, pulling back from the drop like a man testing ice that won't hold his weight. It can't climb, the rogue breathes. It falls in there, it's stuck on those spikes forever. The cube seems to reach the same conclusion. With eerie deliberation, it reverses course, gliding back toward the far end of the hall, returning to its eternal patrol. They let it go. They edge past while it's distant, hearts hammering, and finally reach the far end of the corridor. The rogue glances back at the cube, still patrolling. That thing's been here for centuries, just waiting. "Let's not give it another meal," the cleric mutters. A doorway opens into deeper darkness. The shrine's inner chamber is small and circular, perhaps 20 feet across. The stone altar at its center might once have been magnificent, carved with spirals and celestial patterns. But time has worn it nearly smooth. In the wan light, it glistens. The surface looks wet. The rogue moves first, as she always does. "There's something here," she murmurs, circling the altar, eyes tracing the worn carvings. "Offerings, maybe, or..." She reaches out. Wait, too late. Her fingers brush the altar surface, and what she mistook for moisture surges up her arm. Her curse echoes off the stone walls as gray flesh wraps around her wrist and pulls, pseudopods lashing toward her elbow. Where it touches, her leather bracer begins to smoke and dissolve. A second ooze peels away from the altar and drops to the floor with a wet slap, already flowing toward the party. The fighter doesn't think. His sword is already moving, a brutal arc cleaving through the ooze on the rogue's arm. Don't! The wizard's warning comes too late. The creature splits. Two smaller horrors surge in opposite directions, and the rogue swears again as the half, still clinging to her, tightens its grip. It divided, the wizard shouts. Cutting them makes it worse. The second ooze reaches the cleric's boots. He stumbles back, kicking, and in the chaos, the fighter's blade comes down again. 4 oozes now, spreading across the floor like spilled oil. Stop swinging! Then what do? The cleric drops his mace and grabs the ooze on the rogue's arm with his bare hands. His gloves dissolve instantly. Then the acid hits his skin. He doesn't let go. His jaw locks against the pain. His fingers find purchase beneath the gray mass, and he tears, ripping the creature away and hurling it across the chamber. It hits the wall with a wet slap and immediately begins flowing back toward them. The rogue pulls free, cradling her arm. The skin beneath the ruined bracer is angry red, already blistering. These things don't quit. Behind you! The fighter spins. 4 oozes have become 6. The split halves splitting again as they flow over debris. Oozes converge from 3 directions now: the altar, the doorway, the far wall. The floor between is shrinking, a stone island in a rising gray tide. The altar, high ground! The cleric hauls the rogue up, and the party scrambles onto the stone platform. The fighter's sword is pitted now, edges eaten away. He swings once more out of instinct. The blade snaps. He stares at the broken hilt in his hand. That was my father's sword. Morn later, the rogue kicks an ooze off the altar's edge. The oozes converge at the altar's base, pseudopods reaching upward, testing the air. Hungry. We need fire, the cleric says. Nothing else is going to work. The wizard is already rolling up her sleeves. Keep them off me for 10 seconds. The fighter tosses his broken blade aside and snatches up the cleric's fallen mace. An ooze latches onto his shield. The metal hisses and smokes. He bashes it away. You've got 5. Make it count. Demanding, but she's grinning. The sharp, fierce grin of someone who knows exactly what she's about to do. Another ooze flows up the altar's side. The fighter knocks it back, shield rim dissolving with each impact. The cleric stomps a third flat with his boot heel, buying inches of space. Now would be good. The wizard steps forward, raises both hands, and speaks a word that tastes like smoke. Fire blooms from her palms. Not a single blast, but a sustained torrent sweeping across the altar's base in a wide arc. The oozes shriek, a wet bubbling sound like water on a hot pan. They writhe, shudder, collapse inward, gray flesh blackening to ash. she pivots, still burning, catching the ones that tried to flank. Another shriek, another puddle of smoking ruin. Her arms shake with the effort, veins standing out on her neck, sweat running down her temples. But she holds the flames until the last ooze stops moving. The fire dies. She staggers, catches herself on the altar's edge. Her nose is bleeding. Silence. The cleric examines his blistered palms. Is everyone whole? Define whole. The rogue prods her arm, raw skin from wrist to elbow. The bracer, nothing but smoking scraps. That's going to scar. The wizard wipes blood from her upper lip. That took more out of me than I'd like to admit. Rest a moment. The cleric presses his holy symbol to her forehead, murmuring a prayer. Soft light pulses. Some color returns to her face. Better? Better. Not good, but better. In the sudden silence, the party notices what lies beyond the altar. A set of double doors, black stone traced with silver inlay. The doors are covered in symbols, arcane runes that pulse faintly with residual magic. Any spellcaster in the party feels it immediately, a thrumming in the air, like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks. 4 symbols stand out from the rest, each one glowing with a soft blue light. When touched, they flare brighter, but only for a moment. Then the light fades, and the doors remain sealed. One party member tries pressing them in the order they appear, left to right. The symbols flare. There's a sound like a drawn breath, and then the crack of lightning. Electric arcs leap from the runes, scorching fingers and filling the chamber with the smell of ozone. The party member staggers back, hand smoking. The doors remain closed. They try again. Different order. Same result. Another shock. Another failure. The wizard steps forward, examining the symbols more closely. These aren't random decorations. Each one corresponds to a specific spell. The first, hypnotic pattern, swirling colors that draw the eye. The second, dream, a crescent moon cradled in stars. The third, prestidigitation, a simple flame cupped in an open palm. The fourth, arcane gate, 2 circles connected by shimmering lines. Wait, just wait a moment. She traces the air above the symbols without touching them, lips moving silently as she reads the arcane script. These aren't decorations, they're spells. Hypnotic pattern, dream, prestidigitation, arcane gate. The fighter, still gripping the cleric's mace, his own sword in pieces on the altar, grunts. Great, wonderful, which order? If I knew that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The wizard chews her lower lip, thinking. There has to be a pattern, a logic to it. Maybe it's the order they're carved, offers the rogue. Left to right? The fighter reaches for the leftmost symbol, hypnotic pattern. The wizard catches his wrist. That's what got you shocked the first time. Right, different order then. He pulls his hand back, flexing scorched fingers. The cleric kneels before the doors. Luida is the deity of wonder. Perhaps there's something in that? The most wondrous spell first? That's Arcane Gate, the wizard says, immediately. Opening portals across vast distances? That's profound magic. The rogue shakes her head. Or the least wondrous first? Work your way up? Prestidigitation is hardly wondrous. It's a cantrip. I learned it in my first week. The wizard frowns at the flame-cupped-in hand symbol, almost offended on its behalf. Maybe that's the point, the cleric says quietly. The fighter shifts his weight, armor creaking. We standing here all night debating philosophy, or are we opening this door? I'm thinking. The wizard circles the symbols again, muttering half to herself. Different power levels, different complexity. Prestidigitation it's fundamental, simple. Then, hypnotic pattern, third circle magic, more advanced. Dream is, fifth circle? And Arcane Gate is... She trails off. Is what? The rogue prompts. Seventh circle. Among the most complex spells a mortal can cast without touching the truly divine. The wizard's eyes widen slightly. That's it. It's not about wonder at all. It's about learning, the progression of study. Cantrip to masterwork, the cleric finishes, nodding. The journey from apprentice to archmage. The fighter crosses his arms. So, simple to complex? That your guess? It's not a guess, the wizard says, though her voice wavers slightly. It's reasoned deduction. Uh-huh. And if you're wrong, then we get shocked again. Fantastic. The rogue steps closer, examining the symbols with a thief's eye for traps and mechanisms. These runes, the silver inlay connects them all. See? Like channels. Maybe when you press them in the right order, the magic flows through the sequence. That supports the theory, the cleric says. A progression, building one upon the other. The wizard takes a deep breath. Prestidigitation first, the cantrip, the foundation. She reaches out, hand shaking slightly, and touches the flame cupped in hand. The symbol flares blue. No shock. She exhales. Then hypnotic pattern. The first true test of a developing mage. She touches the swirling colors. Another flare. Still no pain. The fighter uncrosses his arms, leaning forward. Keep going. Dream. The mark of real expertise. Her finger finds the crescent moon. Blue light runs along the silver channels, connecting the first 3 symbols like a constellation coming to life. And finally, she hesitates. Her hand hovers over the arcane gate symbol. 2 circles, shimmering with possibility. "What's wrong?" the rogue asks. "Nothing. If I'm wrong, we're back to being barbecued." The cleric places a hand on her shoulder. "You're not wrong. Trust yourself." The wizard touches the final symbol. The arcane gate flares brilliant white. The silver channels blaze with light, racing around the door's perimeter like lightning captured in metal. The entire hallway fills with a humming that's felt more than heard. A vibration in the bones, in the teeth. Then with a grinding of stone on stone that speaks of mechanisms undisturbed for centuries, the doors swing inward. The fighter claps the wizard on the back, hard enough to make her stagger. "Nice work, scholar." She grins despite herself, adrenaline making her hands shake. Simple deduction. Any competent mage could have. Yeah, save the modesty. You opened the door. That's what counts. Beyond the threshold, a large circular chamber waits, and in its center, a suit of armor, standing ready. Scene 8. The Guardian awakens. A large circular chamber opens before them, perhaps 40 feet across. 4 ornate doors stand closed in the cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, each carved with geometric patterns that seem to shift in the torchlight. The floor is polished stone, unmarked save for faint scratches radiating outward from the room's center. Iron spikes line the walls at regular intervals. Decorative, the party assumes, until they notice the spikes aren't rusted. They gleam faintly, as if oiled, as if maintained. And in the center, waiting, a suit of armor. At first glance, it might be mistaken for a fallen guardian, a knight who died standing watch centuries ago. The armor is magnificent, full plate, etched with flowing script in a dead language, a closed helm with a narrow visor that reveals only darkness within. It stands perfectly upright, feet planted, gauntleted hands resting on the pommel of a great sword driven point first into the stone floor. But there is no body inside. The fighter steps forward, the cleric's borrowed mace awkward in his grip. It's just old armor. The helm turns, metal scrapes stone. The armor draws its blade in one fluid motion, raises it in salute, the gesture of a knight greeting an equal, and attacks. The iron spikes around the room shudder, twist, and rise. They tear free from the walls with a shriek of rending stone. 3 flying swords hang in the air like hornets, blades spinning to face the party, then dart forward, spread out. The armor's greatsword crashes into the fighter's shield. The impact drives him back 3 feet. Before he can recover, it's swinging again. Wide arcs, designed to control space, to herd. The rogue rolls left. 2 flying swords cut her off, weaving patterns between her and the others. Every time she moves, they move faster. The cleric circles toward the armor's flank. The 3rd sword intercepts him, point circling. He blocks 1 thrust. 2. The 3rd punches through his guard and into his shoulder. He drops. Cleric's down. The armor doesn't care. Its helm tracks the wizard as she backs toward the wall, then pivots away from the fighter and strides toward her. It knows who killed the oozes. It knows who opened the door. The fighter throws himself between them. The greatsword descends. He catches it on his shield. The rim cracks, his knees buckle, but he holds. Run. She runs. The armor presses, driving the fighter back step by step. The mace feels wrong, too light, wrong balance. He's losing ground. The rogue is bleeding, pinned down by 2 swords. The cleric is gasping on the floor, 1 hand pressed to his shoulder. The wizard reaches the far wall with nowhere left to go. She turns, plants her feet, raises her hands. Hey, empty suit! The armor's helm snaps toward her. Fire blooms between her palms. Weaker than before, flickering, but enough. Come get me! The armor charges. Now! The rogue moves. She's been watching the sword's patterns, waiting for the gap. When the armor passes her, she slides low, under the nearest blade, and buries both daggers in the joint behind its knee. The armor stumbles. The fighter closes the distance. His mace comes down on the sword arm. Metal crumples. The greatsword clatters free. The armor spins, gauntlets swinging for his head. Fire hits the visor. The helm glows cherry red. The armor staggers, blind. The fighter scoops up the fallen greatsword, ancient steel, perfectly balanced, and drives it through the breastplate. The armor goes still, sags, collapses inward, clattering to the floor in a heap of empty metal. The flying swords freeze mid-air, then drop, lifeless, ringing against stone. Silence. The fighter stands over the wreckage, breathing hard. The greatsword still in his hands. The rogue limps over to the cleric and helps him sit up. The wizard kneels beside them, hands trembling too badly for spell work. I can't. She shakes her head, frustrated. I'm spent. The cleric waves her off, 1 hand pressed to his bleeding shoulder. Save it. I've had worse. He mutters a prayer through gritted teeth. Soft light gathers around his own wound, his healing, not hers. The bleeding slows. Silence returns to the circular chamber. The party stands panting, bleeding, victorious. The 4 ornate doors remain closed, sealed tight, refusing all attempts to open them. Whatever lies beyond is inaccessible, at least for now. But as the party catches their breath and begins to search the room. They notice something. A section of the western wall sounds hollow when struck. Behind it, barely visible, is the suggestion of a collapsed tunnel, choked with rubble and earth. They reach Edward's study well after dark. 4 figures, battered and bloodied, trailing dust from the barrows. The streets are empty. Lamplight flickers in windows. The walk back took longer than the walk out. Wounded legs, exhausted bodies, the weight of everything they'd seen. The rogue drops a sack on his desk. Metal clatters inside. Fragments of ancient plate, etched with script no living scholar can read. Edward's hands tremble as he pulls the pieces free. This is genuine. The metalwork, the inscriptions. He traces the etchings with reverent fingers. 3 centuries old at least. Guardian armor, the fighter says. He leans against the doorframe, the ancient greatsword resting at his hip. Animated. Fought like it remembered being human. Edward's gaze snaps to the blade. His eyes widen. That sword! Where did you... It was his. The fighter's hand rests on the pommel. Now it's mine. The scholar opens his mouth, closes it, and wisely lets the matter drop. He turns back to the armor fragments, muttering calculations, cross-referencing mental notes. The central chamber? You reached it? The inner sanctum? 4 doors, the wizard says. She's sitting on a stack of books, too tired to stand. Sealed. We couldn't open them. 4 doors? Edward's quill scratches across parchment. Cardinal directions? Geometric patterns? Yes, he says it like a prayer. The old texts mention 4 paths, 4 trials. This was only the antechamber. The shrine proper lies beyond. He looks up, fever bright. The tunnel you found, behind the western wall. It leads deeper, I'm certain of it. When I clear the passage, and I will clear it, you must return. You must. The party exchanges glances. The rogue raises an eyebrow. The cleric shrugs his bandaged shoulder. The wizard looks at the fighter. We'll think about it, he says. Edward barely hears him. He's already pulling scrolls, spreading maps, muttering about excavation costs and hired labor. His hand finds a coin purse without looking. Heavy, clinking, and pushes it across the desk. Your payment, more than we agreed. The proof you've brought. He shakes his head, almost laughing. Worth 10 times what I'm paying you. The rogue takes the purse, weighs it, and allows herself a small smile. Pleasure doing business. They leave him there, bent over his maps, tracing lines into the unknown. Behind them, in the darkness of the barrows, the shrine waits. The gelatinous cube resumes its eternal patrol. The altar sits scorched and silent, and beyond its sealed doors and collapsed tunnels, something older and stranger waits still, patient as stone, dreaming in the deep earth. It has waited 3 100 years. It can wait a little longer.